The last of the petty cash went down the drain for Twinkies and coffee and a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain.
The announcements that we was going to get a chance to all own the Ecto-Glows. Anybody that's collected, I mean, Darren will tell you, I mean, what's the cost like in the Ecto-Glows?
I mean, the cost on these has fluctuated a bit over the years, but I mean, to get a full set, I guess at its highest end, you're looking at about £4,000 at the higher end.
Yeah.
I mean, the price has dropped and gone back up several times. I mean, I'm sure in America, maybe earlier this year, a set sold for just over $4,000.
Yeah.
Which I guess is what, about £3,000
£3,000,
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how the value goes on the originals when these new ones come out. And I know some people are going to jump on, go, oh, they're worthless. No, absolutely not. There's always going to be people that will want those originals. So even though the price might drop a little bit, they're still going to be worth a lot.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a dip in the prices of the originals, definitely. But the real collectors, like Star Wars, like Turtles, it doesn't affect the originals. To say, like, there'll be people that this gives them the chance to own these, which is really great.
People that are not that fussed about them being original, they just want them, and they're not sort of people that are going to spend a sort of £2,000-3,000 on a set.
No.
So yeah, it is good for that, and it's the same really with when they re-released the original for Ghostbusters and the Ecto One. The same sort of thing really.
Yeah, there was a little dip, nothing major. I would say prices. I mean, I feel prices have dropped on a lot of these items, but I think that's just. I think it's the financial climate, isn't it?
The financial climate is a bit weird at the moment, and that's just across the board. I think a lot of the value on a lot of stuff has dropped. I think obviously when you have big events like the 40th, that tends to push things up a little bit. So you obviously get that little downward bit again. And obviously we had a film last year, and I'm pretty sure if they do another film, in a couple of years, or obviously we've got the animated thing, that will push it up again. The financial thing, I mean, we could do a whole podcast just moaning about that, really. So we probably shouldn't go too in-depth
I won't
into
go
that.
into that too much.
But I think that's definitely a part of...
I mean, so not only, obviously, talking to Emily and Pat at Ghostbusters Day, not only did they announce that we was going to get the 4 Ecto-Glows, which come in a really nicely redesigned box, which are beautiful, and you get the 4 carded figures in the box. We're also going to get a Lewis Tully and one of these, which was never ever produced.
This is the Ecto-Glow Copter, and if you've never seen one of these before, it was in the 1991 Kenner Trade Fair catalogue, along with some other stuff that was never produced. That was when the Ghostbusters line ended. And that was the sort of stuff that I really wanted from the Kenner line when they started bringing it back, was unproduced stuff. I mean, I know they've done that in their Star Wars retro collection recently. They've been doing characters in the old style, so it's good to see them doing that. And it's not the only thing they're doing.
No, so obviously we're going to get the 4 figures. Then there will be the opportunity for the Ectocopter and the Lewis Tully figure. Which obviously that's a real biggie, because obviously you can't produce the 4 guys without Lewis. And then there was the announcement that we're going to get an Ecto One.
Yeah, an Ecto-Glow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Ecto-Glow, Ecto One. Which looks... I've never really even thought about an Ecto-Glow Ecto One before, but then you see the picture and it's like, that's just perfection. Yeah,
no, I was exactly the same. When I saw it that morning, when I was unpacking on that, I was just like, oh wow, yeah, the box, everything, and for a lot of us, it's the packaging as much as the toy, So we've got we saw the mock-up of it, and it's looking pretty incredible. And then obviously on top of that, they then announced
they had the Stay Puft and Slimer Ecto-Glows.
Yeah, so that's
in that style. And that was they only showed a little silhouette of them, so we have no idea what they're going to look like. I mean, I would assume Stay Puft is going to be in that sort of glow in the dark colour, and I assume Slimer will be similar, just in a lighter green colour. perhaps, which is going to be interesting to see. So
yeah, really great news. I mean, as I say, I know there's the naysayers out there that feel, this isn't what they wanted from Hasbro, but talking to most of the guys that collect, and some of them that aren't big collectors, they're over the moon to be able to get Ecto Globes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm as pleased as punch, and also, talking to the guys from Hasbro, they hinted at, we might see some other things that haven't been produced coming out, that were scheduled on the catalogue, so we could hope for
we had Egon's Lab. Was one of them. We had the fire truck, which I can't remember the name they gave that now in the catalogue, but it looked like a fire truck. And then there was Power Pack Heroes, I'd like to say. And they had big proton packs with ghosts
that come out the top.
And then there was a couple of role-play items as well. There was the Slimerizer, which was like popped out these little slime bullets. And I can't remember the name of the other one, but it shot out like little discs. It looked like the Ghostbusters logo. So if they'd done all of that,
we'd be
no pressure, Hasbro.
No pressure, Emily, Pat.
I want it all.
But we're really pleased with that. And obviously that wasn't the only news on the day.
Plenty of other stuff. So we'll start with what I think was the smallest and most predictable thing, which is the 4-pack of figures. Because obviously we've got the Ecto 1 HasLab, which was last year, and I know they said on another podcast, which I would like to say was probably the Yes Have Some podcast, but I might be getting mixed up, that they would re-release the figures for those who didn't buy the figures back in the day, but want them to go with their newly funded Ecto 1. So they've got them coming as a 4-pack.
Resculpt heads.
Resculpted heads and everything. So they're available to pre-order now on Hasbro Pulse, which have you pre-ordered yours, Chris?
I've pre-ordered mine.
Excellent. So have I. Luckily, for anyone who wonders about pre-ordering stuff like that, is you're not charged until it ships. So and they're not scheduled to ship till early the year.
I think we're going to see. I think the figures will be in the first quarter of next year.
So plenty of time to get the money in the bank.
I did, just to sort of alleviate people's fears and that, and it was a question I'd asked a couple of times, once at the party and then again on Ghostbusters Day talking to Emily, that, you are going to get a shot of being able to buy the Ecto Globes. There's lots of people saying, San Diego Comic Con exclusive. Yes, it is, but they do envisage that everyone's going to get a fair shot to be able to buy them, and they are going to be available in the UK as well. So
That's
just be
news.
careful, don't go getting your fingers burnt by paying silly amounts of money from scalpers. Okay, be patient, and I'm pretty certain that you will get a shot at purchasing these for the price you should be paying. I will try, and through the channels and that we've got open, I will try to sort of confirm this with Emily or Pat or somebody who'll be able to tell us. For certain, and give us an idea on costings, etc. So
and if we get any confirmation of that, we'll post that to our Facebook page. So if you're not following that, follow that. Which is good, and also it makes good business sense for them to make them available, because people ain't going to want the Ecto Glowcopter if they haven't got the figures to go with it.
Exactly.
It makes sense for that. But probably the big announcement for most people on Ghostbusters Day was the new Proton Pack.
The 84 pack. I think it's something a lot of people never thought they were going to get. Obviously, where we had the Afterlife pack and that. The thought that suddenly we was going to get an 84 pack, I don't think that even crossed our minds.
No, absolutely not. I never expected it. I was thinking, maybe they'll announce goggles or something, but an 84 pack. I mean, I know a lot of people converted their Spengler pack into an 84 pack.
You'll be kicking yourselves.
You will. It's just made my Spengler pack rarer and more valuable. So, but it's good to see, because there's a lot of people out there who still want them. And again, pre-order it as soon as you can, because I believe it has already sold out in Europe, hasn't it?
Whether there'll be another, I think there is. I mean, again, I'll have to check the facts on this. I think there will be a finite run on this. So don't sit back and wait till last minute. If you can order one. Again, you're not going to get charged until it ships.
Nothing to lose.
No, and in all fairness, I mean, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that you were going to be able to buy an 84 pack, you know, for £300,
you never would have believed it in a million years. I mean, for us who've been in the fandom for such a long time, I mean, obviously, you know, Proton Pack's quite an easy thing to get now. Obviously, you've got this Hasbro run. You had the previous Hasbro run. Spirit, Halloween have done their own one. Rubies have done their own one. There's inflatable versions. There's the cheap Hasbro blue one. But I mean, back when we started, I mean, our only official option was the old Kenner one with the
foam proton stream.
Yeah, and we had to make our own ones, and of course the cost of making one back then, I mean, it's gotten cheaper over the years with the advancements of 3D printing, but I mean, to make a Proton Pack 20 years ago would have been, I can't think what we spent on our Proton Pack. I don't really want to think about what we spent on our Proton Packs, if I'm honest.
I mean, I think my first shell came from a guy in America, and it was a long time ago, and yeah, I mean, I think I must have paid about £600 for the shell at the time, and then, you know, at the time, I think a lot of people will remember people like Multimedia Mayhem, who come out of Canada. So we was ordering a lot of parts and bits and pieces from guys like that. You know, we had Nicotron over in the UK and that, and yeah, it was very difficult and tricky to get all the parts you needed.
Yeah, and just buying all the real valves and all that, you know, and some people sculpted them. I was more of I wanted to get real clippered valves and all that myself, and all that sort of stuff added up, and adds to the weight of the pack as well. I mean, it's funny because I've actually seen people complaining about the HasLab one being too heavy, and I'm just like, you don't know you've been born, mate. When you compare it to the weight of the ones that we've been wearing for years.
Yeah, I mean, we was very fortunate in the UK that you know, Bennett Kent come on the scene, and he made it a lot more accessible for people to own and build a Proton Pack. I think up until then, you know, there was a lot of guys making packs from wood and you know, metal and resin and all sorts, using I think it was Stefan's plans at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And as I say, you was literally, you know, there was no one to guide you, no one to help you. Facebook wasn't like it is.
No.
You know? I mean, our only major resource centre was gbfans.com.
Yeah.
I mean, if it hadn't been for AJ setting that up back in the day, yeah, you'd have felt like a very lonely Ghostbuster.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy to think how it's all advanced. It's going to be interesting to see how this new 84 pack affects the prop makers as well, and that sort of things. Yeah, but I think it's exciting news, and like I say, if you want to pre-order a pack, don't wait, pre-order it now, because like we said, you don't have to pay for it, do you? So,
no.
You know, if you change your mind down the line, you know, you can cancel it, but don't wait, because, you know, if they don't come back out again, you could end up regretting it.
And what we'll say as well for people that are on the fence, if you can pick up a Hasbro 84 wand now, do it. I'm sure Hasbro are going to revisit how many packs they sell, look at how many wands were produced in the last run, and make sure there are sufficient wands to go round. But don't be sitting there hoping that definitely happens. So I would suggest it, you know, and it's not scaremongering or anything like that. Don't pay through the nose, you know, but try and pick yourself up an 84 wand if you see one at a fair price. We saw in the States a lot of them hit Ollie's, I think it was, and that, and they were, you know, they were extremely cheap and that, you know, and a lot of people will be pleased they picked one up, you know, when they did.
Absolutely, and I think the same goes for the Alice frame. If you can get them now, because once that pack hits, they'll get harder to get again, as we saw when the Spengler pack shipped. You know, Alice frames just went silly. So.
And in all fairness, you can get away with a Rothko one. You know, the packs are light. You know, they're not super heavy. You know, again, if you mod them and add extra weight to them, then it might be an issue. But I stuck a Rothko one on my Afterlife pack, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So, you know, I don't think you need to be looking for a vintage LC one or, you know.
Absolutely not.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, as Darren says, you know, don't wait until the last minute to order those things. Maybe think about ordering that sooner rather than later.
The last of the petty cash went down the drain for Twinkies and coffee and a busted chain. No more rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain. Ray's got a plan, but it's held with tape. Egon's experiments always misbehave. Venkman's flirting, but it's all escape, while the bank account looks like a dried up lake. The last of the petty cash went down the drain, for Twinkies and coffee in a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain. Ray's got a plan, but it's held with tape. Egon's experiments always misbehave. Venkman's flirting, but it's all escape, while the bank account looks like a dried up lake. The last of the petty cash went down the drain, for Twinkies and coffee in a busted chain. No more donuts, no more caffeine rain, just saving the city and feeling the strain. Janine shouting, the budget's toast. Ghost traps buzzing, but we're broke the most. No time to worry when there's a haunting post, but who knew fighting ghosts